Okay, just want to check to make sure we're live. Shout out to... Okay, cool. Shout out to everybody here. Thank you for jumping on in. And yeah, we're going to break down Bookmap like we do every Tuesday. And we're not going to talk about PLB. And I wasn't even looking at this Palladium. I was just scanning through some coins, and it happens to be there. Don't go buy Palladium. That's not a subliminal messages to buy Palladium. We're going to see, is Bitcoin going to continue to the downside? Or are we going to get a bit of a reversal here? Is there signs enough that they liquidated enough people on Bookmap? Or do we see more liquidations coming? And that's kind of what we're going to use Bookmap for. That's where we're going to look at what's happening here and see if is there a scalp long or a scalp short? Is there something? Can we make a live trade? And we're going to have some fun breaking it down. I just got to dive into the Bookmap. Yep. No, I'm doing that. I just usually go to Bookmap first. Just today, I just wanted to make sure that the live stream was working first. Yep. Okay. All right. Shout out to everybody here in Discord too as well, if you're watching. Just tapping into Discord, seeing if you're around. All right, there we're sharing our screen, and let me pop out the chat too as well. Hello. All right. Let's pop out the Discord chat, the YouTube chat. Shout out to Lifer Adam. Shout out to everybody here. Appreciate you all. And let's get this also heading over to Discord. A lot of moving parts over here. All right. Is Bitcoin going to continue down or up? Question would be to watch the smaller time frame. Last time we left, we saw this little flag. Came up, came down. Almost hit halfway to the measured move without getting stopped out. Let's take a look now. We got a little bit of bullish div here. That's strong, stronger than before. You get this really, unicorn style uptrend. See how it feels like it's driving, Yeah. So that's just one thing that we want to pay attention to and we want to be looking at, right? And this, whenever you get a good, strong bullish div, I mean, we had it here, gave us a bounce. Again, when you're in a nasty downtrend, I always tell my students this because this is what I used to find. Before, when I first learned about divergence, I would use divergence, I would find it, and then I think it only works here and there, right? But it actually works every time, okay? And you're like, no, it doesn't. Yeah, it really does. It works every time. It just... the trend can be strong enough. So the trend and support and resistance are stronger than anything else. And that's what I finally learned. Like, I don't care how good the divergence is. Like, this is a downtrend, previous high. We came down. We made a previous high, right? You couldn't get above like, that was your support or resistance. Like, you had to break through this key area, resistance. You had to get above. If this got above, then it would have used it as support, and it would have been a different story, right? The trend would have changed. Once you also can't get above a previous high and you lose, you're in a downtrend, right? That's when the trend is now, you are trending lower at this point. Then you make a lower, a low, then you make a lower high. Now you're expecting a lower low. You've made two lower highs in a row, but you have a pretty low high. So you have to go pretty low to make the lower low. You do. Now you have a lower high, lower low, and so you could even say now, look, we got to move. Like the divergence did. Because you will get a pump. So, look, we were going down. How do we at least the divergence gave us this. It gave us 41,857 back, It'll give you something. It's just you have to always heed support or resistance. Super important. Super, super important. Number one, right? Everything else comes from support or resistance. All right? Number one, you want to heed support or resistance. All right? Yeah, a week from now when we're back here, it'll be the day after Christmas. Christmas is Monday, it looks like. Or what is today? Christmas is Monday, right? Today is Tuesday. Interesting. So, Monday, Christmas.
the Christmas cheer. You know, my mom loved Christmas. Her favorite thing to do is to be with her kids and her family and to open up. So many of my memories are her opening up gifts on Christmas, you know, and me being like, thank you, Mom, for something she got me. Pretty cool, right? Look, this has shoulder, head, and right shoulder vibes. Right? And then we would take a measured move. And so we can see a possible move down. We could even see, attempting to make another symmetrical triangle on the very small time frame. Excuse my 2-year-old daughter's cameos. She's just learned to be very vocal in the last couple of days. Last couple of weeks, really, but... Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if we make more a move down. Almost more like this, right? You got the mini little bear flag here. You're curving down. So the whole thing is, you're like, I haven't seen Bookmap yet, because like I like to look at what's happening, and then I load up Bookmap to take a deeper picture into what I'm seeing. You know, and if Bookmap loads up with what I'm seeing, that's when I get really excited, you know. I don't like to stare at Bookmap first sometimes and then look at the chart, because I don't want to lead myself in. It can be biased, right? So that's why I love to like open my TA and follow you where you go. Shout out to Crypto G, man. Shout out to everyone here. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Shout out to Gaines Lord, my man. Appreciate you, man. Cool name. So my TA does say that we have some liquidity below us, but wow, look at, like, it's amazing, man. Bookmap, you know, and that's why, like, I always keep my TA number one, right? Because there's times when my TA has said to go long and there's been some liquidity and I've missed a long because of the liquidity. There's been times where my TA says been to go long, though, and there's more liquidity below. But most of the time, they're both pretty locked in. Like, my TA says to go short, they got liquidity, right? Right now, if I had to call it, like, you can see, like, you have to make a pretty big gap, and there's zero here. Like, that's like, I always look at it like jumping on lily pads, right? And not wanting to get wet. And so if you look at here and you didn't want to get wet, you would have to, like, but it's so much easier to jump, and get to these. So this liquidity zone is easier to get to. There's also a lot of it very close. So that means there's way more stop losses. There's way more, you know. So, and there's buy. So there's a lot of whales that want to buy down here, right? 167 Bitcoins, 138 Bitcoins. And then there's a lot of whales that want to sell. 45,000, 44, yeah, and they want to sell up in here. But it doesn't have the path to get there as much as this has the path to get down, you know? If you look at the closest liquidity, really, and you really zoom in, it's this 41.8 to 41.750. Very likely we go there. Once we go there, you have 41.5 waiting for you in 41.6. And then, you know, I always take it one step at a time. And then you go from there, you have 41,000, then 40. So you can see there's more of a path to the downside in the liquidity. And that's how I look at liquidity too. I want to see, like, because it's like once you get somewhere, you get pulled more. You get pulled more, you know? It's just like, have you ever been on an order book and recently it's happened to me in some like little altcoins that have been pumping hard. Let's say it's 94 cents and 9/10 of a cent, and you go in at 9, you know, or at 95 and 1/10, and next thing you know, it's at 95 and 10/10, and, you know, or 2/10, and then it's at 95 and 5/10, and then it's at 96, and And you just keep trying to, and eventually it's at 95, you have to just put in a $97 order, a 97-cent order. You're not getting in. Like, it's like, you know, it's similar. And what I mean is that that's how a spread is connected, right? Like, it just keeps going. Similar to this is how the book has the orders waiting for it. It's going to be a lot easier for it to come to the downside than go to the upside, right? Not saying it's guaranteed, but it just, you know, and at the same time, like, you know, if we see a short squeeze, we're like, well, there is a, strangely so, usually when I see this much liquidity down here, we do not see this much, like, this is strangely ordered, you know, on both sides of the book, all right? That is a spot, actually, too, so let's see. So that was spot, you know. When we look here at the order book here, which is a lot, you know, a little more balanced because it's futures, all to the downside, right? So there's really no liquidity above us at all, which is interesting, all right? Liquidity's all further down here. So my computer did a very strange, like, just told me it had to update out of nowhere, which never does. And then BIOS came up, and I was like, oh, no. I thought I was going to have to do some maintenance or something, but everything came back to normal with a normal restart. So more liquidity to the downside for Bookmap on the futures accounts. This is the perp that was spot I was looking at. And so people put order spot, just wait, right? So spot's got orders all over the place. That makes a lot more sense. All right. Now that we still got the order up here, there's still some big orders up here, but for the most part, Bookmap wants to go lower. 41,200 really is the big order waiting below us, and there's enough liquidity to get us there, right? And there's even some backup liquidity down in 38.9, 39,000. So Bookmap is showing signs of a lower move to the downside as well, all right? We are sporting the old, you know, this is like a reversal move that I go for. Swing down to swing down, you have swing up, you get pulled from the 21. Usually you'll pump back up to the 200 SMA, all right? Specifically, you'll be even more bearish if you can't get back above this 200 SMA. And it's funny, for a Tuesday, price action's been funny. It's been moving hard for a minute and then flatter for a while and hotter for a minute, you know. There's been volatility, but there's also been like a dryness to the price action. And I expect that. The last 2 weeks of the year, right, you have 11 days left in the year. A lot of people are looking at what's up in their portfolio, what's down. They're what's called tax loss harvesting. They're selling, they're buying, they're offsetting, you know. They're seeing where they're at in the portfolio. So there's a lot of that going on that doesn't, you know, people don't have to care about that throughout the year. All of a sudden, people are paying more attention. There's only 10 days, 12 days left. If they're going away, they may be able, you know, a lot of people are also going away. Last few years, everyone has a trip. Most people have some type of trip plan or do something with the family every year. If they're lucky enough, right? I usually go to Florida every year. I go to Sarasota. This year I'm not. My wife's not feeling well. I'm a little bummed by it, but it's okay. You know, I'm not going to see the beautiful sandy beaches. And the last year I went, we didn't have any good weather. So, like, this was supposed to be the redemption year. But it's okay. I'm having a beautiful child. Like, that's the redemption, right? That's the blessing. So you get this falling wedge. You should technically pump up to the 200 SMA here, all right? Usually you'll get pinned on the Stokes, but you'll continue to pump anyway. I don't know why, but that's just kind of what happens. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed to happen. We have to get above resistance at 42,112. But we got a strong, nice divergence there, which definitely was a liquidation event. All right. And you can see right now we're squeezing the shorts pretty violently here a little bit. And we're just working, their update came in that knocked off the liquidation indicator. We're working on the team to get it back up and running. And we tried a bunch of things, but we will have it probably within a week back up and running. So apologize for that. Because I'd love to see right there that, but I can tell you, I mean, that was a liquidation, you know. Definitely we liquidated accounts on that move to the upside. Wasn't that strong, not a lot of follow-up volume, right? But we did get a liquidation. I'm expecting this to go more to to kind of go sideways here and end up more to the downside based on where the liquidity is, based on what we're seeing today. but anything is possible. But that's, if we do something different, it will be a little, to me, it'll be like, wow, that's them they'll be grabbing a lot of people who went short and they're just going to nail the short, the stop losses. But one thing that we could see here, which is interesting, and I play it one step at a time. The more I trade, the more versatile I become. Every year I become more fluid, I even find I am almost like not confusing myself, but I'm almost like I'm able to flip quicker than I ever was before. Like if I see some bullish sign, I can also see it bearishly as fast and then eventually I make my determination. Eventually I sit and make my trade, right? That's what I love about the trade. Eventually you do make a decision because the trade is the decision, right? Once you make the decision, it is what it is. Okay. Love your TA. Shout out to Michael Paz. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. I have a position on Beam now, and I'm down from 15.7 to 13.5. Should I stomach the pain and sell? Keep holding with the context of the current market conditions. Just some insight. Beam X, right? That Beam. I mean, I can't tell you what to do, right? I'm not I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say and do here, everybody should be taken as financial advice, right? Let's take a look, though, at Beam. Yeah, it's Beam or Beam X. There's Beam X, too. I believe it's Beam X, if I'm correct, right? Yeah, so we want to make sure we're looking at Beam X, because there's Beam and Beam X, and it's really, they're both Beam, and Beam's like, yo, what up, man? We were Beam first. What's going on? It made a double bottom here, and it's trying to level its way off. Really nice pump for Beam. I jumped in out of nowhere just being like, oh, I keep hearing about it. I jumped in somewhere down here, and it just ripped up. I'm still in thinking, hey, should I may just take some profits because I leisurely jumped on in. But then it also adds just to the yearly profit, So it's like, do I want to add more profits on the year? That's something I have to ask myself. Or would I rather let it slump a little bit, take the unrealized loss, the unrealized, stay in the unrealized gain as well. The key is, look, you had a low, you had a high. If you can keep a high or low here, the second you break this low, so if we break this low and we come up one more time, I'm out around here, because that means we're going to make a lower low and like something's happening. If we can maintain this and stay in, then there's a chance that we're just kind of rounding on out. We make a double, some type of, cup and handle, and we got to move on out of here. So to me, it's all about this low. I'd be watching this key area at 16879. It is a little more of a loss considering how small it was. It got all the way to 2.8, right? So it's lost a penny on itself, which is a lot of money considering where we could have gotten in or out, right? It all depends on you and what you're, For me, I like to cut off small losses rather than like dream of always winning, I ask myself, could I handle it going down even more and being down $5,000 to $6,000? And usually the answer to me is no. And I said, could I handle the loss now of $1,500? I was like, I can handle the $1,500 loss and walk away. I've already hit it, so now I can deal with it, right? I'm more close to dealing with it. I've probably been looking at it for a day or two. But, I'd also look at the stochastics on like the 1 hour and the 4 hour before I sold something. And if the 4 hour was overbought and looking like it was coming down, kind of like it is now, tells me there's likely more downside coming, It's almost like a shoulder, shoulder, head, shoulder, shoulder. And if the 1 hour, so if the 1 hour is low, I might wait for the 1 hour to try to bounce. But for the most part, this looks pretty bearish to me. You had the low. It's all about that low, though. If you can stay above this low, then you're going to maintain some type of micro uptrend, and there's a chance you could maintain your way on out of here. That could be shoulder, head, right shoulder, right? And that definitely is an inverted head and shoulder. That could break us to the upside. And if you get above this resistance at 21, 021, 2124, there you got yourself a real chance there. Or 021522. 021522 sounds like a zip code, right? So I'm asking the same question because I swung traded. I'm up nice now, and I'm like, should I care about this or should I just take my profit? So it's thank you for asking this question, because you have me asking the same one now, and I haven't really paid attention to the position because I haven't really cared that much. But I am up like a couple bands, you know? So, and I'm not married to the project. Like a lot of people like married to this thing. Like, you know, if I get in down here, I might be married to it. Then I delete everything again, and I want to look at it on like the daily. The daily says it's overbought without much information. The 22. So it's almost trying to say, hey, can it get some type, can it consolidate? And that brings us back to where we were again, right? I almost feel like it did break out. I've been thinking so much, and this is how much like crazy my mind's been thinking recently, but I was just like, oh my God, I forgot about the Bookmap stream. And then my mom was like, Sam, you're on the Bookmap stream, you know? But I do so much TA. I was like, am I just sitting alone doing TA alone? You know, I was like, who am I talking to right now? I was like, you're talking to the Bookmap people. It's like, I do, you know what I mean? I don't know if you guys know what I'm saying, but like, I talk so much, do so much charting. At one point, I'm like, am I on a one-on-one right now? And I forgot about Bookmap. It's like, dude, are you on a Bookmap stream? Like, yeah, I'm on a Bookmap stream. So funny. They all blend together by the end of the year. There's definitely you know. And it's strange. Like, we'll hit the end of the year and like we will have gone every single day of the year, right? Thank you for the TA. I genuinely appreciate you taking the time to help. Thank you, Modi Hanudi. I love you, man. Nah, you locked in for real, man. We appreciate you, brother, Sammy Claus. Sammy Claus is here. Yeah. Yeah. Cryptolifer Sammy Claus. Yeah. Shout out to Stack Claus McChange. Stack McClaus. Stack McClaus. Saint Stack. Saint Nicholas Stack. Oh, man. Shout out to Stackman Change. We love you, man. I appreciate you more than you would ever know. You understand me, man, like a brother to a brother. Appreciate you. And it shows the humans are humans, man. We can be from any walk of life, all different cities, different places in the world, and we can connect and see each other like in a brotherly light, like, and know each other, you know? I find that's what the trading group has taught me so much about humanity. And about humanity's ability to connect. You know, you put out your radar out there to the world and you see who responds to that, right? And through that, like, and they always say, you know, your vibe is your tribe, but it really is. It really, really is. My bad, Sam, but when you get a chance, can you show us how to set an alert? Don't say my bad. No worries, man. I was so, you know what? My mentor used to show me things 10 times in a row. I can get with that. Leave the good cookies out for me, not the dollar store. Yeah, not that. You're funny, man. You want that raw whole milk right from the cow. Yeah, you want that fresh. You want that Swedish, like, block chocolate. You know what I mean? That you have to order, like, from, like, a European catalog, and, like, you have to wait, like, a few weeks. Yeah. It comes in, like, chunks only, and it's, like, the real deal. That's, yeah. You want the real Swedish chocolate chip cookies, homemade with the chunks, the real chunks, where like if you look far away, you can see like a piece of the geometric shape of the actual square. You know, you can see the square of the chocolate chunk coming out from the chip. You know what I mean? Like from far. Do you guys know? Are you all seeing what I'm seeing? The chocolate chip cookies on the plate, right? The sun's coming in, all right, and the sun's hitting a flat geometric part of the chocolate chip, like a flat, and it's bouncing, and people are just like, you know, we buy raw and make butter. Love you, brother, always, man. Yeah, to set an alert, like if, say I was watching Beam right now, and I wanted to make sure, like, I caught it when it bounced back, or I wanted to make sure I was going to catch it if it was going to break. You know, I could put a line right here. See this? I could right click this and add an alert on that trend line. Now, when price action crosses it, I'll get an alert. I can also just put the vertical line like you know, and put an alert. You can put an alert anywhere you want on anything you want. And so you can make an alert. I can also add, see this here? I can right click here. There used to be able to just, there's a plus sign here. Somehow they like took it away. It's weird. There might be like an alt I can press though. There should be something. Yeah, right there. See that? Yeah, there it is. They just moved it. So like I could go here, I could right click and hit add an alert on a BMX at that level, crossing 16782. And now it'll turn white, you see? And when you click on it, a box will appear and say BMX crossing. And you'll have a white line here, and you'll know you have an alert there too as well. There's many ways to set alerts depending on how you wanted to do it. Okay? Yeah. We get it flowing in exotic premium, only straight from the farmer. Yeah. Is there any way to set an alert that indicates when the SMAs are crossing? I believe you could right-click, add alert here, and you could say condition. All right. And you could say, I believe... Crossing down. Yeah, so you see how I have this as 1, 2, 3? I believe the second one. So you'd be like the 50, which is the 1, the 21, which is 1, crossing down on 2. Create, right? So it says, I believe that was it. And so now if the 50 crosses, which it already happened, right? So we'd want to do it the other way. We'd want to like right click it and alert, and we want to do crossing up, and we want to say when the 21, right, which is 1, crosses up on the 5, on the 2, which is the 200 SMA, right? Yeah. And we picked which one we want, right? Create. So we should get an alert when the 21 crosses the 200 to the upside. No guarantees that's exactly right, though. I don't want to be, you know, let's backtest that theory, right? So look, on our way to the 200 SMA like we're supposed to. So far, so good. Somewhat of a little right shoulder there. You see? Shoulder, head. We did end up making that tiny, but we made a little right shoulder. And we're on our way to the 200 SMA. Tight moving averages. That's very similar to watching like a bearish move, and you're getting away from the 21s away from the 200. You're going to dump down to the 200 SMA. We have a gap in the VRVP, which tells us we can probably get back to 42,477. To me, it's really also about holding 42K, right? Now we're getting a massive short squeeze on Bookmap too as well. Wow, they're running it up nicely. We don't see this. This is interesting. Usually I see the liquidity, you know, not a lot. There's a little bit there and a little bit there. There's a little bit to clean up. Not as strong, but we're still getting the move up to there. There's, you know, the one you're looking at now is 44,320, right? And that's why, look, like Bookmap didn't really tell me exactly, but I always go with the moving averages. You know, I don't know why, but you always magnetize. This is how bots work, how the algorithm works, but the price action gets magnetized to the 200 SMA. Just boom. It sticks to it like a glove, like it's amazing, right? Thank you, fam. Appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I like the vibe of the Lifer channel, but I like this relaxed version of you also. Yeah, no, by the end of that show, I'm going to a meditative state. And for the next 3 hours, I'm very low key. That show is like the boom for me. It's like it's the explosion of the day for me. You know, my body starts preparing for that show when I go to sleep at night. Like I start thinking of like my delivery and how I'm going to run the shit. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's become a way of life for me running that show, which is crazy. I don't even know how that's, you know, I feel so blessed. And I thank God every day for my opportunities that have been given to me in life. And my mom and dad were very proud of me. And, you know, it was interesting. I had made my own kind of little edge in the world. And I kept telling them I would. They didn't fully understand me. See, you know, you have to understand is the YouTube channel did a lot for my relationship with my parents, because beforehand I was like, you know, I did well. I mean, I was making like a good amount of money, but I wasn't like happy with my life. I wasn't like, to be honest, in my head, I wanted to be the boss. Like I didn't want to work for someone else. I never wanted to say I had a boss, and I did. I had a boss. And until I broke free of those shackles and did my own thing, I never really felt truly fulfilled, and I never felt like I was doing what I wanted to do with my life. You know, so even when I hung out with my mom and dad, there was always this uneasiness to me that I could feel now inside. Even when I think about it, like I could feel it inside a little bit. And it, you know, once I started my own thing and my YouTube channel took off and everything started to kind of pan out, and I could, you know, also the crypto thing, you know, I was always so hard into crypto, and I was a little hard-headed, and I told this is going to happen. And like, you know, a couple of years go by, it wasn't perfect. And then when like the rally happened and like things really took off the second time, and then my dad was like, wow, it's like, you know, $30,000-$40,000 a coin. Like this thing's coming back. The show was amazing and captivating, but like when we can see you are more accurately, and yes, that we can see who you are more. And your parents should be proud. We are in the trading group are also proud of you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And it's interesting to like live life on display, to have random strangers be like, we're proud of you, you know, and to realize that the human race is a family of people. Like there's people waiting out there to tell you the things that your parents and your brothers and your sisters told you. There's a family of people out there, you know, and if you open your heart and speak with love, then the people that respond to love will respond to you, you know, and you'll form a community. You'll form a group, a vibe, a tribe. And again, your vibe will be your tribe. Like that vibration you put out of love and guidance will be the vibration in which you keep, and it'll guide you and the other people around you, right? So, you know, my mom did. It's funny. My mom lived with all these principles. She wasn't as vocal about it. Maybe she wasn't, you know, it wasn't as easy for her to articulate vocally. I mean, that's actually not true. She was also a linguistic, but she didn't speak a lot. Like she didn't sit there spending time. It's like she didn't like hearing herself talk. Like not like I did. You know, it's funny. I think about her and I think of my mom like a blabbermouth, because my mom and me are very different in that sense. You know, my dad was the one who talked a lot too. It's almost like, you know, he talked so much that she didn't have to talk, because it was like he was just going to fill the air anyway, you know. I don't know if anyone has that going on with their parents. My mom was like the kind, quiet, patient person, you know. And my dad was kind of the in-your-face, you know, going to tell you how it is, you know. So you can see here, I'm just using my subconscious mind. And that's why, too, I talk about stories and I'll go into the past, or, you know, and I'll use a section of my brain to access memory. And when I'm doing that and talking with each and every one of you, my brain will see TA in a way is clear without it's as if I occupy my personality. And like, you know, the emotional side that might take you away from what you see in trading because you think. And so I occupy that with a story or a deep set in place. And then I'll, you know, and I do that sometimes, and it's interesting. And I'll see so, you know, as crazy as this is, I'll see something in the technical analysis that I may have missed before because I'm not letting myself get in the way. If that it's kind of strange, right? But I'm letting my subconscious mind just be,
and not letting like my regular mind try to take over the situation, right? Because trading is interesting. Like you have, you walk, you breathe. Like I'm going to walk down the street. You have to make sure you cross the street. Like you have obligations. You have to take control, right? In technical analysis, you want to really rely on the skills that you don't technically want to take control as much, My stepdad was in the military and my mom was from another country. Hard body by nature. Had to have tough skin under the roof. Amen. Yeah. So we're seeing this kind of rising wedge in this flag here. And as long as we hold previous support as resistance, there is a chance that we move on out. And then remember, now we have a bigger measured move, because if this is a rising wedge, we can take the base of this and swing it nice and clean. And that would likely cascade on over, but it hits these, it gets into this resistance area of 42.8, right? And remember, look, there's the bounce. Somehow, whenever I see stuff like this, it seems like the bots or someone else sees what I see. Low stochastics on the momentum also is stochastics are aside, just amazing. Then I'm always looking at the MACD, and I'm looking for the MACD to have lack of bearish momentum, right? And then I'm adding to I'm seeing if Bookmap has liquidity above us. And it has a little bit. It's interesting. It still says it's going to go lower. See, sometimes this will happen, and then we'll just make a turn, and we'll dump, and it's like, well, Bookmap told us. So Bookmap is still strongly saying, hey, you may be seeing a pump. Things might look good, but we see 41,000, right? And I keep that in the back of my mind. If I'm scalping right now, but I like this low stochastics, possible nice scalp right here. Kind of an entry, get to the top of the pattern. Have to be super close to price action and not get a 3-to-1 risk-reward ratio. It's like I have to almost take a 2-to-1. If I didn't react quick enough, almost had to go at it right there at that present moment in time. Since my mom died, I've been a little slow to the draw for whatever reason. I'll be honest with everybody. I've been a little slower to just pull the trigger on a trade. I've had because I think about winning the trade and I just think about my mom passing, and I get this kind of it doesn't get me as excited as it did the day before my mom passed, when I was like, yeah, I'll win the trade, I'm kind of win the trade, great, and I know it will come back and I'll find my chi, and I've still had I won last night. I won a $400 trade and it felt great. But that was a good, and see, look, I built this before it happened. I saw that move before it got the move, right? The key is to constantly go at price action like this. And so whenever I step up to any asset in the world at any moment in time, I can put on somewhat of a clinic, somewhat of a show, and attempt to show everyone where price action is likely going to go based on probability, nothing else and nothing more, right? Here's the falling wedge. There's low stochastic. Boom. The dwindling, you have the 200 SMA above. There's the 21-day. Everything looks good. Tight moving averages. You've already gone through that motion. So it's telling you there's a good probability of a break all the way to this at least. And then you have a resistance line that we're going for where we bounced right there. 42,250. And so now, look, you've been green now for 2 minutes straight. I was able to basically project this to happen before it happened, right? We are God's children, meaning we are family, and family is a product of love. So we love you, brother. Thank you, Modi. I love you too, Modi Hanuti. I appreciate it. Yeah. Shout out to the 57 beautiful people watching on the live. We appreciate you. And on a day like today with volatility, with ups and downs, with a lot of iffies, I'd be taking quick profits on a lot of my trades. I wouldn't be once I was up pretty well, I would be in and out pretty fast.
I'd probably be raising the leverage a little high and planning on being in the trades for smaller amounts of time, you know, where I think I could get a 10% move. I'd be going for, at 10% leverage, maybe I'd be going for 30% and I'd be looking for 10%, but only with the 3% move. You know what I mean? With a smaller move. I attack the market differently depending on the sentiment and the volume that's going on for the day, right? But here we go. I mean, so far so good, right? And again, it's funny. Bookmap usually would show me like a nice red bar right where we're going into, and it does have this liquidity here, and it had this. Yeah, but just you don't see a lot of orders waiting, until you get to like 44. What if it doesn't matter? It just tells you it's rather go lower than higher here. Makes sense. You're starting to make a rising wedge. Rising wedges break down 68% of the time. You can make this beautiful double M or an M. This could even be a lower, or you could come up here and make an M pattern and then begin to break to the downside. I wouldn't always go for the big target every time. Right? Like I just said that earlier. Like if I was in the money now, I'd be thinking of taking some profit. So yeah, a profitable trader is someone that sold and took profits. A non-profitable trader is someone who waits all the time, in and out, never really like commits. That's why someone who learns how to even just sell a $50, like just selling small amounts, selling every win adds up over time. They gave you the Bookmap account now. Earned it. Let's go. Yeah, right? Took it over, man, But look, now I'm seeing the rollover M, right? Yeah, 7 minute now wants to roll on you. You got the rising wedge. Doesn't look amazing. Resistance. 5 minute overbought as well. Almost feel like, could you say, look, that's the bearish retest for further downside. Price action pretty flat right now. There you go. I'm expecting us to at least touch this 200 SMA and then either get rejected and start to dump. If we can flip it, that'll change the whole story. I'm all about SMAs. Like, we get above it, that changes everything. I mean, then we have to stay above it. But at least it leads us into a more bullish idea, right? Once we see this form, we can begin to do something like this now. Right, we didn't even need that, but it's hidden there. And that is another possible measured move that takes us pretty close to the same 42,350. And then now if I look at it even closer, it's kind of shoulder, head, right shoulder, cup with a handle. See the cup and handle? Cup with a handle, boom. Should get a pump now. Even look, an inverted head and shoulder there. It's a high with a higher low too as well. But look, I have to be on the 1 minute to find this and see this. Very small time frames, right? Remember, entered down here already. Presumptual entry 42154. Still on the money, you know. Now we really have the double bottom possible. I can still see in the back of my mind a bearish 4 hour, right? Curving down. Big wick though. So you got to be able to like keep the bigger time frames in your head while you're still on the smaller time frames. You know, that took years for me to really to be able to fully do and like do it well, like to be able to respect that 4 hour in my mind. Well, I'm still trading a 1 minute, you know? That way I get where I'm at in the bigger time frame, even though I'm scalping some small time frame. It's all situational, right? Now, boom. Right now in the next 2 minutes, the pump to the 200 should happen right now. Like, we should see it now. Show it to me right now. Come on now. Don't make me look stupid. Do what you're supposed to do. Pump right up to that yellow line. Make me look good right now. Come on. And now. Next candle closes, so it closes good. Next candle's going to open and then pump to the 200 now. Come on now. Come on now. Make sure you do the right thing now and pump right to that yellow line. Yeah, 40 seconds to make me proud. Let's see it. 38. Coming down to 30. Oh, no. No. 27 seconds. Come on. Flip green and then pow. Right to the 200 like you're supposed to. Like a bot wants you to. Wow, they're going to close that candle funny like that? 16 seconds. There it goes. Watch it. It has 10 seconds to go. Pop. Pop. Look, go. 9, 8, 7, 6. Pop. Come on. Close the gap. 3 seconds. Oh, wow. It almost did it. This one should hit the 200 SMA now. This one has to do it. Come on. Now you've got a breakout with the candle closed above. So they drag the order book down now. So close. Yeah, I got out of college with dreams of becoming like a multi-millionaire in real estate in my mind. I ended up getting a job in real estate too, and then I also got a job in the field of college, you know, and I also thought about I wanted to be a filmmaker, and like, you know, I wanted to get into film, become a famous actor, and then use the funds that I made from acting to create my own studio, and then start making my own films and directing and stuff. Like that was kind of my dream. Right? That was like how it all began. So I moved to New York City to go after that, got a film degree, right? But I was always interested in finance and money. You know, at the end of the day, my main passion was learning how to grow money, you know, seeing, you know, just like taking small amounts of money and seeing if I could turn it into larger amounts. That just had always been a passion of mine. You know, good passion to have, right? I mean, right? Some people have a passion for fishing, right? I have a passion for just, you know, I'm a curious individual. I read about so many people that made gains in their life, and I just always wanted to see if I could make those types of gains. You know what I mean? Like, I just was curious. Whenever I read about another human being, I envision myself, you know, trying out what they did. Okay, how do they do that? You know, oh, I'd like to see what that would be like. And then, you know, understanding it from the, you know, you know, read about someone they stayed in they stayed in the 5-star hotels and flew around the world. I'm like, what would that be like? Like, I'd like to be able to do that, you know, at least for like a few months, and then like learn and then put it away and like go back to my, you know. But you know, that whole idea to be able to experience what someone else has experienced, that is supposed to be amazing, right? I want to know, right? I want to know what it's like. That always drove me to want to work hard or do something different. And I always knew it was going to take a long road too. I always had this long, like I saw people who had decided they were going to be regular and just lived a regular life, right? Didn't save much, didn't try to invest too much, just lived their life, you know, invested just enough, got the SUV, got the lease, you know, got the mortgage with the husband, you know, put the kids through school, was always in somewhat of a debt, used the credit card, you know. And I saw that as like the average, you know, 70%, 80% of American households. And then I watched people too. And I told you, I lived in New York City, and I watched people go to work every day back and forth. And I watched people for years. And one day, I think internally, I'm pretty sure I said it out loud even, but at one point internally, subconsciously, you know, I'd watched enough people walk back and forth to work. I watched enough people on the train, older than me. When I was 18, you know, I was going to like, you know, maybe with my friends going to meet someone. I got into the train, you know, on the afternoon, and I saw the people coming home from work. And I saw the tired faces, and they just didn't look that inspired. They looked like they were forcing themselves to get in and on that train. It just didn't look. And I said, man, I'm going to do whatever it takes not to be a worker bee. Not to be a normal person, like not to live a regular life. And, you know, I looked at sports players, you know, I mean, they were disciplined, but then they got to fly around the world, do what they wanted, have fun, have a blast, right? So that looks like maybe it. We couldn't flip the 200 SMA. You really need, you know, for bullishness to occur, that has to flip. We didn't even get a chance to touch it really, right? But nice little pump from the fallen wedge there. You know, that's all. See, on a day like today, I'd be like, I would love that. Like that's all I need is a move like that. Tiny little move, nothing crazy. That was actually great. You know, that last little green candle was just enough to give you a nice little ending. It's still in the money technically, but very close to break even now, right? If you were to stay in the trade. Remember, Bookmap really suggesting we go lower. Rising wedges break down 68% of the time. And rejection by the 200 in the 4 hour really not in our favor. Suggests that we see this come, and this would break down back to where it began. You would see a dump all the way back down to 41.8. And look, it's what's interesting. It's doing that same pattern that we've been seeing a lot recently. They use this thing all the time. It's like they're waving at you, but it's the Adam and Eve double top. And I've seen it so much lately. Like, I never saw this pattern get used as much as I have. So there's two bearish patterns now. A rising wedge that breaks down 68 and an Adam and Eve double top. And I know that the 4 hours, you know, against us, and we were unable to flip the 200 SMA. You know, we are low stoke again, which tells me, oh, we'll play a little bit, but for the most part, these are bearish signs. And the liquidity really is to the downside. All down here. Not, you know, nothing really too interesting above us. A little bit of blue. Well, I go for the yellows and the oranges and the reds. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? We're talking 41.5. That level in right there, look, 41.8. And then if you lose that, I mean, you're going even lower. And when we look at the bigger picture, I'm sitting right there, 41.28, 41.1, 41, you know, where this 200 SMA comes on the 3 hour. Nice green candle in the 3 hour time frame. 2 hour got a nice bounce too as well. See, it's crazy when you're on the 1 minute using the smaller, but that's almost too many too. Make it bearishly retest on the 1 and fall off. And you can see how the price action's kind of just sideways. You know, that's that holiday trading. It feels like how, like, even though it's a Wednesday, it feels more like, you know, like a Thursday afternoon or a Friday. You know, just the volume is just a little. It's. I would expect this for the rest of the month, for the next 2 weeks, 11 days. You know, 12 days. Yeah. Don't get discouraged. It just is what happens, right? Some news here. SEC's preference prevails. BlackRock adopts cash model for spot ETF. BlackRock's alert has acquiescent to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission preference for the cash creation model rather than the in-kind model for its spot Bitcoin exchange. BlackRock has gone cash only. That's basically a wrap. Debate over in-kind will have to wait, says ETF analysis. Good sign, he added, noting that the SEC is getting ducks in a row before the holidays. The world's largest asset has yielded to the U.S. the cash creation model instead of in-kind. The asset manager an amendment to its spot ETF filing on Monday. The amendment details the BlackRock iShares Trust baskets of 40,000 of integral multiples thereof, noting that baskets may be redeemed by the trust in exchange for the cash proceeds from selling the amount of Bitcoin corresponding to the redemption value. It switched the ticker from IBTC to IBIT. An ETF, Eric Balchin has commented, I'm not totally surprised it switched its ticker last minute. IBTC was already a ticker they used in Europe for a treasury ETF, so confusing internally. IBIT was available for recycle via liquidated Defiance ETF. And it's just as sober and boomer friendly as IBTC. Funny. So, I mean, things are moving forward. Like, that's definitely news towards good news, right? News of news. That's the only thing is I love Stochastics RSI. Like, they give you that hope. Like, could you get the pump now? Haven't gotten the follow through a lot. Resistance right here. We got to break that resistance. Usually this would be a bearish retest and we'll drop further to the downside. Shoulder, head, possibly right shoulder. And here's the test. You know, you get above the 200 SMA, then you get it. Like, you know, it can open us all the way up to 42.7. I just don't see the liquidity up there. Bookmap doesn't have it. $42.9, $43.3, $44.3, $42.9. Like some, you know, but I mean, look at this. This is hugely staring at us. I stay short based on the 4-hour time frame, you know. See what a short would look like here. Stop loss on the other side of the 200 SMA. As long as you stay below it, you know the short's playing out. And rising wedges like to break down where they began. Possibly take profit 1 there, take profit 2 there. One at 4,199, 42K, one at 41,800, 200, right? So what it would look something like this. Boss is calling, have to go. Okay, man. Can you look at TA, please, if you don't mind? Appreciate your time. When I did want to look at it before on the last stream. Can you believe it's still at 1189, like despite all the stuff that's happening? Bitcoin is out of control. I remember when I first got in at 229, literally aped into a brand new coin. And look at that. I mean, 5 to 6x. Crazy, right? So it's oversold in some time frames. However, it's finally, you know, getting somewhat of a trend change here. Has a clear resistance line. If it breaks out, that's like, you know, your ideal move, but there's your 618. It lines up with this area too. 706. So you're looking for it to come and bounce off a golden pocket 1084 if it's still really bullish. I don't see a lot of sell. I mean, people love this thing and it just keeps ripping. It's interesting. This could end up being just a really small, like this could be just, you know, the beginning of something really big up to the 70. Like it could 7x from here. And people be like 100x. Like this could be the market where more and more people 100x than ever, you know, because I've never seen it easier to 100x, you know. Honestly, I've seen coins that, you know, you'd only really get a 50x out of and you had to wait the whole run already up at 10 or 20x and they look like they can 10x again. And we're not even at the, you know, we're maybe 10% through the bull market, if that. Wow, we're doing good. I mean, we're staying inside this pattern. We're hanging out. It's all about flipping the 200 SMA, even if it's just on the 1 minute. Honestly, I get mixed signals. I wouldn't long or short here. I get that pattern makes me want to long it, honestly, the most. But you're overbought on the 7. The 1 minute's bullish. I mean, the 1 hour. The 1 hour is bullish. Like, it could just V-shape recovery all the way back up all day long. So, we do have the 1 hour in our favor right now, which tells me we could long this 1 minute. Front run the idea you're going to get above. Really just to that target there. But now look, you are getting back above the 200. Finally hit it like we said we were eventually going to hit it. We hit it, see? It's crazy how you get the divergence, you get pulled away from the 21, and you eventually come to the 200 SMA. I don't know why you do it. It's like, it could take a while. Like it took, you know, 80 minutes or whatever, but it happens. You know, long. Let's see how long it took actually. Hold shift right here. 1 hour and 6 minutes. Yeah, so it took 66 minutes, 66 bars. Look for this to break out, honestly. And Bitcoin continue to push to 42,470. But still, it's in bigger chop. Like, it's in chop, but bigger chop. You know, we're watching small time frame. Remember, the 1 minute. Oh, the 1 hour looks bullish to me. I'm getting mixed signals because the 4 hour looks bearish. The 1 hour looks bullish. So I'm watching the small time frames to show me what's happening. And right now, I mean, resistance. We SR flipped. 42,000. Really good sign that we stayed above 42K. So that's the thing. If we lose 42K, I flip bearish again. We stay above 42K, I remain hopeful for some bullish action and look for flags. So that's where I stand. We flip below 42,000, I go to bearish, right? We stay above it, I'm bullish. So right now I remain bullish, and I'm going to leave us with a long here. Looks like, you know, I'm going to make a call with my guts on the line. 80% chance Bitcoin's going to break up to the upside here and go to 42,450. And I'm sticking to it. And I'll see you guys later on in the group.